They sell an orange oil too, but it's usually for cleaning. Orange oil is an organic solvent, and it dissolves the exoskeleton of insects. That's how it kills, not a poison. You? When is a good time to spray fruit trees? If I was going to spray fruit trees, I'd spray them for nutrition. And we got a product called CT. You can make it. Fish moss and seaweed. A little bit of orange oil. Water. Something like that. Or compost tea and molasses. And a little bit of seaweed. You can make up your own. Don't try to keep it. Like you keep it in the refrigerator, say stuff like that ferments. How often you want to. It might take 2 or 3 sprayings. I don't know. I don't ever spray anything. I just kind of let nature take its course, and that usually works.
Little black iridescent beetles with a red dot. Good or bad?
Little black iridescent beetles with a one red dot?
One red dot.
Bring me one. I want to look at it. I've never seen one.
We've got billions of them. I haven't figured out the difference.
Well, watch them what they do. If they're just crawling around all the time, that means they're looking for troublesome insects. Usually if there's the bugs that feed on your plant, they're usually sitting still. If a bug is crawling around or moving around a lot, it's looking for something to feed on. That's how you tell the good from the bad, a pretty easy way.
And usually with those beetles are that they're probably half an inch long, like a ashy black with a red ring around them. The whole, I got good bugs on it.
You got different bugs, I know that. I saw another hand up somewhere. There. Wait a minute, that thing was running. I couldn't hear. Now go ahead.
I had tomato plants that the worms were eating, and so the next year I decided I would change and grow cherry tomatoes, and I didn't see anything on those. So I was wondering if you mix cherry tomatoes with the other tomato plants, could I kind of keep them away?
You know, that's a good thought. The cherry tomatoes are a lot stronger, and the insects do bother them less. Try that. Mix the two. Plant a cherry, a big one, a cherry, and see what happens. Or somebody try that.
Also, around here we've got a deer problem. Anything you try to grow out, unless you have a high fence or some other method, they eat up everything. So I tried to grow a few things outside my house, and the deer came and cleaned it off. So I just wanted to experiment and try growing garlic by putting garlic poles in. And when the garlic plant came up, he ate everything else, but they never touched the garlic.
Bad breath.
Bad breath? Well, I get that question a lot, and there's 2 answers. One of them is a 30-30 rifle, and the other one is a 7-foot fence.
I like that.
Our Sunday school teacher.
Your son's a school teacher?
This is in Ohio. In Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay.
She puts those downy dryer sheets all over on sticks.
What were they?
The dryer sheets. Bounty or downy or whatever you call them.
Fabric softener.
Fabric softener sheets that you put in the dryer when you're
Oh,
drying clothes.
well, I don't never dry clothes. My wife does that.
She puts it on little stakes all around. Well, this isn't a vegetable garden, it's a flower garden.
Yeah.
But the deer don't seem to bother.
Huh.
They're
Where do you buy those things?
at HEB and
What do they call them?
Bounty dryer sheets that you put in your
It's fabric softener.
it looks like little white sheets.
White paper towels.
Oh, okay.
And they've got a fragrance to them, a pretty strong fragrance. And she puts them at like 3-foot intervals, and she swears it works, and they have a big flower garden.
I tried that stinky stuff, deer repellent.
Oh, yeah.
It stinks. But the deer just didn't bother them. Didn't stop them. So in my orchard, I got these big panels, cattle panels. They're 16 foot long, and I just make a circle around each one. I'll pin them together. And then when I want to weed them or harvest, I just unpin them and move them out of the way. That's the only way I stop them. You can't shoot them all.
But it's fun trying. Yes, I know.
And they're brazen, boy. I mean, they'll come right in the yard. They walked by our front door and looked at us and went back and ate all our sweet potatoes. Somebody over here had a question? No. You?
Also in Pennsylvania, they use the old-fashioned Listerine to spray around screen doors to keep mosquitoes away.
That'd probably work.
And you can spray it on yourself
Yeah.
instead, but you smell them pretty stinky too, with Listerine.
Old-fashioned Listerine spray. Yeah.
Not the flavored one, just the.
Yeah.
The brown stuff.
The yummy stuff.
Home remedies.
So I was going to ask you, in my compost pile, I've accumulated a lot of fire ants. So just pretty much let them go?
Well, yeah, let them go in your compost pile because they're not doing a whole lot of damage. Now, if you want to get rid of them, mix a whole bunch of molasses in there, and that compost pile will really heat up, and it'll chase the fire ants.
Okay.
So you'll do double good with molasses if you want to get rid of them.
Yeah, because here pretty soon I'm getting ready to start getting into my compost
Yeah,
pile.
all right.
Static pile for a while, and I was
Yeah.
going to get into it, but it has a lot of ants in it. So.
Yeah.
Put a bunch of molasses in there, you know, dilute it some, but not a whole lot. That'd get rid of them.
Okay.
Dilute it like half and half or what?
I don't believe you needed maybe a quarter molasses and 3/4 water. If that don't work, then go back to half and half.
Will that work as well with the ant leaf cutters that go up a tree and eat the leaves?
Those things are tough. We've tried everything. They've got a product on the market now that does kill them. I mean, somebody told me a way they got rid of them. I forgot what it was now. But I've tried all kind of things. In fact, way out in the pasture, you know, they're kind of fun to watch. But when they get around your house, they can strip a fruit tree overnight. They don't sting or nothing. They're so industrious. I hate to kill them, but boy, they can do a lot of damage. Somebody told me this, try it, see if it works. Put dusting powder in the trails pretty close to the mound. When they walk through the dusting powder, they'll get it on their legs. Sulfur dusting. They'll get the sulfur on their legs and they'll carry it down to their compost. And the sulfur will kill the microbes that make the compost and it'll wipe them out. Try that. It costs very little to try it. It might work. Dusting sulfur in the trails, so they have to walk on it. Then let us know next year.
Tell me about diatomaceous earth.
Tell you about diatomaceous earth? I've done a lot of research on diatomaceous earth. One day I went out with some diatomaceous earth and some real fine powder, and I made 2 circles. And I had this on it's still working, yeah. I had this on a big piece of plastic, and I went to an ant bed, and I thumped ants in the middle of it, and they crawled halfway through the diatomaceous earth, and they were dead. Crawled halfway through that real fine powder, they were dead. So the next morning, early, a guy come over and said, "Man, let me show you how this stuff kills ants." I took this piece of plastic out there, went by ant bed, a circle of diatomaceous earth, my powder, and I thumped ants in it, they walked across it. I thumped more ants in it, they walked across it. And then it dawned on me, the diatomaceous earth in real dry weather, or any fine powder in real dry weather, desiccates the ants, and they can't live. And in the morning, when it's moist, don't hurt them. So you can use diatomaceous earth, but do it when the weather is hot and dry. And then I did another test. I went to a mound real early. First of all, I had about an ounce of, or maybe a good heaping tablespoon, an ounce in the bottom of a quart jar. And I went to an ant mound real early, and I shoveled ant mound in it real fast. Pretty soon the ants were crawling all over me. I jammed the lid on, had some fine holes, and knocked the ants off me, and I set them on my desk in my office. A week went by, no dead ants. 2 weeks went by, no dead ants.